once they start the top. Thing 1, 2. Okay. Oh, what are these for? I better put these. Okay. All right, ready? Bow. Okay, salute. Okay, first exercise, feet shoulder width, turning. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, and stop. Okay, to the side. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, and stop. Okay, hands up, reach down. 1, 2, 3. To your right, to your left, center, inhale, exhale, hands up, reach down. 1, 2, 3. To your right, to your left, center, inhale, exhale. Okay, one more time, hands up, reach down. 1, 2, 3. To your right, to your left, center, inhale, exhale. Okay, hands in your waist, circular movements. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, and stop. Reverse, other direction. 1, 2, 3, 4, I think 5, 6, 7. Didn't they talk about aliens? And stop. Okay, sun across. Circular movements. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2. Reverse. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 1, 2. Kusana. Hands on your waist, neck turning. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 1, 2. Back and forth. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 1, 2. Sana. Tilt to the side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 1, and 2. Sana. Rotating down. 1, 2, 3. Reverse. 1, 2, 3. Center. Hands up. Pulling. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Okay, spread your feet. Turning. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, and stop. Okay, stretch it out. Switch. 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 Straighten the front knee. Switch. 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 Okay, center. Okay, shake it out. Okay, hands up. Deep breathing. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Okay, hands in your waist. Shoulder roll. And reverse direction. And center. Okay. Press, release, exhale, inhale. and center. Hands up, pulling inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale. Okay, wrists. And center. Reverse. And center. Palms down. Make a circle. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, and stop. Okay, we'll do side to side shift. And center. Knee lift. And center. Okay, right foot, your right foot forward. Insert needle. Going to go up and down. And switch other side. And center. Okay. Deep breathing. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Okay, we'll do leg swing. So we're going to right side, your right. And center. Switch the other side. So anyone that's watching the video today, actually we're starting a new class, the Belmont Center, Beach Street Center. It's July 7th. There's 6 sessions, so some of the people that are still following from Belmont can join that class. Okay, center, side to side. and switch, other side. And center. Okay, shake it out. Hands up. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Okay. Silk grilling. Forward and back. And switch. And center. Okay, cross, open and close, right foot forward. So you can bring the right foot in front. And switch. And center. Okay. Circular movements. Okay, lower hoop. Shoulder height. Elbows down. Okay, palms down. Extend. Deep breathing. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Okay, diagonal flying. Okay, switch. both hands. Palms down. Carry tiger to the mountain. Okay, infinity sign. Okay, form the fist. Okay, palms together. Okay, strum the lute. Okay, turn, draw the bow. Okay, fan to the back. Okay, raise the hand. Okay, palms down, hands up, deep breathing. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale. Okay, so before we begin the form, we just go through some of the posturing, and we did like last time we did the 180-degree pivots. So it's just standing, starting from this V position. So that's your 90-degree. When we square the feet, it ends up like that. When we kick the heel out, we end up making a turn. And we have grass to sparrow's tail, left side. Then we turn back to the front, pivot, and switch hands. Forward, back, and forward. Turn, square the feet, turn, continue around, and change your hands. grasp the sparrow's tail, left side. Turn, kick the heel out, and change hands. Grasp the sparrow's tail, right side. So it just kind of teaches you how to break the movements down, and it helps you sustain the position when you're passing through to the other side. And then we go from vertical to horizontal, palms down, push out, hold your position, toe heel pivot, and we pass through center, go forward and back and forward and back and turn. So there's a lot going on between the 180-degree turn, the hand movements to grasp the sparrow's tail, and how you pivot, shift, and pivot, and turn, and continue around. Grasp the sparrow's tail. Then return. So that's essentially going to single whip. Forward, back, and forward. Turn. There's your toe-heel relationship. Here's your diverting and push. Here's a sit back, turn, parallel stance. We're in this position and we continue around. The palm side is essentially in the middle. So if you notice, when you're here, what you're going to be doing is this. When you're here, what you're going to be doing is this. Right? So when we're here, we end up here, and then we switch. When we're here, we end up going to middle and switch. So then you start to pay attention to the transition, because you're passing through center and passing just like strum the loop. But now you have to integrate it with your torso and your turns and directional changes. So when we're here, when we turn, there's your strum the loop motion. Here's your horizontal elbow. Here's your roll back to divert. Here's your turn to the front shoulder to push. Here's your turn. Here's your square stance. Here's your toe heel turn. Here's your change of hands. Here's your right side horizontal. Here's the roll back. Here's the push. And your turn. And then if we were to stay in the center, this is all we're doing. So, you know, everything that we learned is a sequence of events. So you practice that event, and eventually the body picks up the order of things and the feeling between shifting your weight, pivoting your feet, all the things that require a certain amount of control. And then sustaining the positions and doing that actually keeps a level of consciousness. So mind-body relationships is how your body would go from here to here to here to here, and then we're going all the way around, and the process continues. But that's just sort of a dose of grasp the sparrow's tail, where you're practicing both sides, which you'd probably, if you're doing the Tai Chi Paradigm form, you only get to do it once. So one time is not enough to actually let your body, get enough, of that experience for it to identify with all the, minute transitions. So this is something that you could do when you're learning it. It's something you do as you, progress and already have sort of embodied the form. Because how do you take a movement and perfect it? How do you develop this idea of moving from the toe to the heel automatically. It becomes just an innate motion. So because we're trying to build it as a, sort of a subconscious behavior, which eventually becomes a reflex, then when you turn, you automatically would do this. You automatically would turn. If you're turning this way, it automatically does that without actually really thinking about it. Because if you see something coming, say in this direction, you just would turn, and you would turn. So that's how you would actually sidestep or move away from your, something coming towards you, like a punch or, any type of thing. To avoid, that's what you're doing. That's your first line. There's your second line. Here's my turn. There's my forward position. And that's how we get into strum the lute and apply it as on guard, ready position. All right, so that's typically you would say strum the lute in the form, and you would look like this, and then you would go like this for closing the door, right? So if we're here, neutral position, I generally say turn 45 degrees. So you turn like this to 45 degrees. You turn this to left side center. So from here to here is a very minute adjustment. This is like this, where the palms face each other. If I turn like this, then I turn the palm up like this, and I turn back. Essentially all I did was rotate my forearm till the palm is facing up. You have a line from here to there, and here we are in the center. So this hand is just like this. Now this is going to cross your center because this is where your center is. But when I turn like this, it's a little bit longer because of the hand position. Now if I cross my hands like this, there's your cross hand position, and where the X is, right where the forearms join, should be about where your sternum is. If it's too flat, you don't see the cross hands. You see the cross hands from above. That happens when you high pat the horse and do the kick. So that's a horizontal cross hand position. Here's your oblique vertical cross hands position. And then if we go to the upper cross hand position, it would be like this. And you don't want to really cover your eyes, so you would be here. So that's how we manipulate our skeleton. So if we're here, we turn to this way. So what is a conscious intent? A conscious intent is what you want your hands to do as an intention, what it should do. So if you're doing the movement and you want to sort of press to this direction, your intention is to go in that direction. So what do you have to do as an intention? Your wrist has to seat. So what is seating of the wrists? When your hands are flat like this and vertical, the wrist is neutral. When I go like this, it bends backwards. So the intent of the position or the focal point would be here. If I go like this, then it would be the wrist, right? So that we have these kind of motions. The intent, if I want on the palm, to give you an example, if you're going to apply pressure on the tabletop or some flat surface and you wanted to rub with a little bit of pressure, what would you do? You would seat your wrists. Seating the wrist is letting your fingertips go up, because now the point of contact is here and your pressure would be there, right? If I want to take the pressure off of here, you relax the hand, right? Now if I want the pressure to be here, you lift. Like in single whip, you lift. On the downside, press. So in order to press, the intent goes to here, the heel of your palm, and you feel pressure here. So when you push down like this, you could feel pressure here. When you straighten the wrist and thrust down like this, then you feel the line of movement going through the fingers as a straight line. See, that's what conscious intent is. So if you're in a strum the lute position and I'm turning it in this direction, then your wrist actually has to seat or define the press as here. Because if you don't do that, it's moving across, but it has no energy or structure to the movement. So this is transition. This is structure as a position. This is structure as a transition. Now when I turn my hand like this and I go back, my intent goes to the wrist. So then your hand has to turn and you have to create a force in this direction as it's here. Because forces and directions are actually only a singular direction. You know, it's like an arrow. If you shoot an arrow, it only has a force in a direction, like a vector, because the idea is to get the tip to hit the target. There's no lateral force. The only lateral thing that's affecting that arrow would be gravity. So if you project something like that, it's actually going to end up on the ground unless you have enough speed and force to carry it through. So that's transferred from the energy in the bow, right? Yeah. Yeah. Then the palm. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay,
So
then I'm going to move the fingers back.
you can move the fingers back and it changes that, which is actually what would happen. If you just put the tension there, it's not going to do it. So the way you would, if you're moving your fingers back like that, it would bring more of an intention there. Because everything is somewhat pivotal. Well, it is pivotal because we're dealing with joints that are connected as a point. So the point is here. If I go like this, then the intent is here. But it just can't go there without another connection. So what's the other connection? The connection is to body, right? Because the shoulder is also a point. It's linked to this. This is also something that's linked to this, and this is linked to the knee and all the way to the floor. So the fact that I do this, it's actually affected all the way down to the ground, to the point that you're actually standing on, because that's where your stability is. That's your base. So if you don't have a base, you really don't have this. You can't create an intent without this. So when I do this, not only do I create the intent there, by doing that, that's creating the transition for the force in that direction, but that's not what you're actually using. You're using this. Because when I do this, now my forearm has a structure and it has a position, but then because it's done softly and passive, when I turn my spine, then that creates the action with the structural positioning from that intent that gives me the ability to attach, to be soft. Now on a physical level, if you did this, then it's just strength, but it's not connected to here, and it's not connected here. So the mind intent for something like the movements that we do in Tai Chi is really requiring a lot of it. Integration of body, where all of this becomes one piece. So that's what we're trying to achieve by learning to move correctly and relaxing your musculature so the skeleton adapts. So is there an importance to that? Well, that's building off of your proprioception, your sensitivity, heightened spatial awareness, everything around you, and the reference points that you're using is like what we just talked about: the cross hands, the cross, the vertical, the square, the push, the back. All of this becomes potential force and energy and motion. So,
when I think about pressing down, I actually think of two ways to press down. Normally, if I just press down,
tense. Yeah. Yeah.
It's forearm that tense. But if I really want to push down, sometimes I apply shoulder pressure too.
Yeah.
So when I do this, which
Well, because this is a neutral position when you're bending, you're sinking, is really realigning your posture. So what you're doing is creating an erect position by lengthening your ligaments and tendons so you have a true alignment so you're finding that position as the vertical line. So the vertical line is the true line that goes from the top of your head to the soles of your feet, because you're standing on 2 feet. You're actually a triangle, you're a wedge actually, right? So now if you just went up and did that, you would know that this alignment is a separate pressure because it's away from your body. So now your force is not as good. The true force is in a vertical position is in the same direction as your legs. So when you did what you did and you went like this, you really had to change your position by moving your foot over and then tilting your body so you get a lot of force. So when you do this, because you're straightening the elbows and the knees, you create an alignment of force in a downside. So you say, where is it? Well, if you put your hand underneath my hand, right, and you say, how do I create the force? So if I'm here, this is a physical force. When I'm here, that's an alignment force. So
tension in the shoulder.
as much as it needs to get my arm to raise. Because if there's tension in the shoulder, can I do this? Then this is the position of alignment. So you feel strength, but actually, if you continue to lift, you can't, unless your arm is strong enough to lift my whole body weight. Now, if I go like this, that's a yielding. If I go like this is in the vertical position. But if I tilt this way, now my vertical line is in this leg. So now this leg is light. So I can produce a lot of force in this direction by standing on one leg. Right? Because I'm not really using this strength. So the strength that you have in your body has to be maximized as a potential of how to use that strength. And the vertical line, this is the natural direction of your strength, because this is hanging. The intent of this movement is just like we talked about the wrists. You had to seat the wrists to get the alignment of the arm. If I don't seat the wrists, when you lift, it's just your hand would be folding, right? So if I was to lift your arm here, and you seat your wrist, you would feel, right? You feel strength there. Without actually putting a lot of strength, just pull this back a little, like, not too much, yeah, without tensing the elbow. So you feel strength. Now if you let that go, now this really is no longer aligned, because your mind is actually connecting all the little contractions that require to keep your bones in a certain position. Now when we're here, now this is what is kind of unique in the sense that in Tai Chi, one of the principles is use your will and not strength, right? Will is mind intent and how to use that strength. So when you're in this position and you're using your mind intent, your mind says don't use muscular force, or the theory says don't use muscular force. So that's because most people don't know how much strength you need to hold that position. So you could over tighten using too much strength. That would be wasting energy. If you find the balance between that point and where it starts to collapse, would be the correct strength. But it really can't be measured. It's measured through a feeling. So the experience of knowing how much strength comes from sort of an understanding. So, would you pick up a spoon and stir a cup gently, or use a shovel? You would use a small instrument. You would stir it gently. Would you move your elbow when you did that? No, depending on what you have to do. How much strength do you need? Or what's involved with it. Now you could hold it light like this and then do this. And that's doing the same thing, right? So how much strength do you need is just enough to hold that instrument. You don't need to over squeeze it, and you don't need to do this now. Because if you did this and this, that's going to be twice as much. So you just hold it enough, and then you let it swing. And if you hold it light enough, the thing becomes like a pendulum, and it just kind of sways, and you don't really have to do anything. So it's amazing how your body would connect and disconnect its joints. So anybody that's done waitering or waitressing, you would know that you disconnect the shoulder joint in order to hold the glass and walk without it spilling. Because if you're holding it and the forces that's acting on this is connected to your legs, then everything moves. But when you disconnect it and it's just kind of floating there, you can actually not spill it, right? So that's called the disconnect, where the force of this doesn't come to the body and respond to what's there, because for every action is an equal opposite, but that action can't be transferred if it's not connected, right? So that's what we learn, on a different level of, Tai Chi. But in order to understand the type of strength you use when you're doing the form, you have to understand the mechanics, the science behind motion. So anyways, okay, we'll do the short form, and then Monty, we were waiting for Minor, so you got this whole dose of information that was maybe right. Right, Maria? Okay, so Monty, you want to go with Minor, go over the form, and Chris, you finish the form so you can stay here. Maria's going to go there. No? Yeah, because you're going to lead the form over there. I'll be over here. Okay. All right, ready? Preparation. Flip your hands, relax the body, step up, grasp the sparrow's tail. Single whip. Diagonal flying. Shift. Step up. Press forward. Step up. Raise the hand. Bend from the waist. Stork flaps wings. Turn. Brush knee 4 times. Step through. Third brush knee and push. Sit back and go forward. Twist step. Brush knee and push. Sit back. Turn to the right. Back to center. Shift your weight. Close the door. Form the fist and punch. Divert, block, and punch. Cross the arms. Leopard and tiger springs to mountain. Back to neutral. Turn. Stroke out. Fist under elbow. Neutral position. Go forward. Repulse the monkey. Forward. Straighten the back foot. Repulse the monkey. Go back. Go forward. Straighten the foot. Reverse. Neutral position. Hold the ball. Step up. Diagonal flying. sit back, lift up, insert the needle, step up, fan through the back, turn, stroke down, parry and punch, step forward, form the fist, divert, block, and punch. Cross the arms, leopard and tiger springs to mountain. Carry tiger to the mountain. Cross hands. Raise the left hand. Bend from the waist. Stork flaps wings. Turn. The left side grasps the sparrow's tail. Left side single whip. Hold the ball. Reverse the ball. Diagonal flying. Stroke down. Part the horse's mane. Step up. Stroke down. Part the horse's mane. Sit back, cross corner, Jade Lady work shuttle. Cross corner, Jade Lady work shuttle. Turn, hook your wrists, cloud hands. Hook your wrists and close. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4. And deep breathing. Inhale. So one important concept in our footwork where it shows up is the substantial and insubstantial leg. So we have to, it's called differentiating between substantial and insubstantial, or really shifting a weight. So you have one solid leg, one empty leg. The solid leg is the one that carries the weight. The empty weight one is the one that's where the weight is leaving it, and then you would put it down, then you would transfer weight, then the other side. So it's filling and emptying. Just like the concepts of yin and yang and balance, you have to fill one side, empty one side. Once it's empty, you fill it again, you empty it, you fill it again. So that constant relationship is happening every time you shift your weight and you take a step. You shift your weight and you take a step. So the reason why we practice this slowly is to develop, the mechanism, the mechanics as a relationship between the shifting of the weight from one side to the other and the releasing of tension in the joints. So when we say the whole body is releasing, or feng song they call it, is really releasing tension in the joints. Not just releasing tension in the muscle, but you have to release the joints. Because you could stand here but still have tension in the joints. So how do you know when there's tension in the joints? If it doesn't move. If the joint doesn't move, there's tension in it. Because it's like if I move my hand like this and I'm not using the elbow and it's like this, so the arm is moving, it's relaxed, it's pretty relaxed, but there's tension in this joint, because how else does my arm stay straight? In order for it not to be straight, you have to relax, so the elbow has the ability to go up and change directions, that's sinking the elbow and relaxing the shoulder. So that's the simplest motion to sort of experience that. It happens in every motion. When you fold, you have to sink the elbow. When you turn, it has to be relaxed in order for you to use the elbow to direct the motion. So if you don't use the elbow, then it's between the wrist and your shoulder. So I could do this, and you can see that's kind of stiff, right? So because when you sink, then the thing is there's sort of a wave in the motion. So that wave in the motion is like water, like in the ocean. There's waves, right? And it moves. When there's no movement, when is it in water when there's no movement? When it ice, right? When it freezes. So there's something to the two extremes, right? So the other extreme is when water becomes steam. So then that becomes lighter, and it becomes something that enters the atmosphere. So your movements should be looked at as like that it moves like water. So when we go like this and we create a wave, the body is actually moving as if it's fluid. And there's a balance between, it's not moving like that. It is, But to have structure in motion, you have to manipulate your skeleton to create the strengths and weaknesses of each position based on what the intent is. So like in golf or hitting a tennis ball, in order for you to hit it, you have accuracy of movement. But the faster you can get that racket or club to move using gravity in the correct alignment is how you create the force. Now, the fact that you can hit that target that's very small is really through your practice and your spatial proprioception reflex. So when you fall, is gravity. When you let it go and follow through, it's the directing of the movement, and it all has to do with your hands, your wrists, your fingers, and everything else, all the way to the front. That's why it's so difficult to do that.
So in the short form, where do you notice the tension the most? I mean, most of us are bending our elbows when we do preparation.
Yeah.
In some of the other parts,
So the form,
yeah, in the form,
where do you see?
sort of typical ones where you see people are holding tension and not.
Yeah, something like anything that has kind of more of a separation mode or a splitting, it might be. So if you go into a position like diagonal flying, and now if you look at the movement closely, when you come to this position, you see the body is shifting. So the hand is moving, but it's not really so physical. If you go into diagonal flying and you're doing this, then that's kind of an extreme arm movement. When you go like this, and it's soft, but it's flaccid sort of, then there has no structure. So you have to find the structure, the direction of movement, and what is driving that motion. Part of it is driven by the legs, part of it driven by the rotation of your spine and the turning of the body. So when you turn the body and you transfer from forward to backward, now you're bringing dimension into movement. So dimension of movement brings volume to your posture. Without the volume, then you don't have the proprioception, you don't have the spatial awareness. So all of that is built over time, but it's not built over time because you're practicing. It's built over time because you're understanding it. If you don't understand it, you can't practice it a certain way. So at this stage, if you've been doing it for a while, you have to understand the principle, the concept, and the space. Without the space understanding, then the body is just going to do it the same way over and over again because it doesn't know. Yeah. Your body can only progress through these sort of concepts that we're talking about, and those concepts can't be understood without a certain amount of body awareness and experience. Because while you want to do that, the body doesn't know to do that because it's not specifically wired for that motion. It takes a lot to get that to happen. I mean, it takes a whole lifetime to create all these habits that we have. So if you haven't done anything for like something like this for 70 years of your life, it's not going to happen overnight. it takes time. If you've done it, since you were 40, there's going to be some changes. Yeah. You got a question, Phil? Oh. So yeah. Your right side has a different what?
My right side has a different line.
Oh,
than my left side.
yeah.
And it's strong. I feel like it picks up some of
Movements. Yeah.
than the left side, which I just right side gets very frustrated by.
Yeah, because
There's a real difference between the two
Yeah.
sides and how do people deal with that.
well, because people have a right dominant side, that's why you write with your right and you use it more. So the side that you use more is gonna know more movements or more things and it's already adapted. The left side, which you don't pay attention to because you're not using it like you would use it here, then you have to work the weak side more. Because you have to go take it through that process. So believe it or not, if you do something long enough and the brain starts to assimilate the motions, the information starts to transfer to the other side. That's why, like, when people have sort of a stroke or they have some kind of a disability on their side or injured, then your brain can switch that information to the other side if you work it. It's just like these people that veterans that get injured, they even figure out how to do it over time. I've watched something on a woman that she didn't have any arms, but she was able to do embroidering with her feet. Threading a needle with your toes. I mean, most of us can't do that. But she spent so she picks up the thread with her toes and she holds the needle the other way, and the dexterity and the flexibility of her hips to bring them up like that is just changing how those muscles work. Like, normally your knee only would go up to here, but she can fold it and change those positions, and then after she threads the needle, she embroiders like these massive things on material. But there's a lot of people that have developed the skills. If you have epilepsy, sometimes they take out certain parts of the brain and they transfer where normally it would be to play music to the other side of the brain. So those are extreme cases, but those are samples of what people can do. So what you have on the left side that's not cooperating is a simple thing for because it's just something that you haven't used. So you just have to work it more. The exercises that we do like this is going to build your patterns. But in order to do this, and this becomes a motor skill that has to be refined. But you notice anything that you do in pairs in front of your body is much easier to do because your brain kind of wants to do it like that. When you're doing this on this side and this something on this side, it wants to do the same pattern, but it doesn't necessarily have to be in that same space. Like this is something I use as a test to see if you can work your circle. So this is a circle like this, right? And this is a circle like this, right? So that's what we're doing, is a circle. So you have two circles, and this is two circles going in the same direction. But the hard part is to make your circles go opposite, like that. One going one way and one going the other way. And you reverse, and you reverse. So your brain has to figure that out, but you can do it if you do it a few times. Yeah. So rubbing your stomach and patting your head is another one of those. We do this, right? When we do the exercise like this, and we switch the hands. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So all we're doing is opening and closing our hand, right? That's all we're doing. Go to this side like that, go to this side like that. But if you stand there and you make your hand like this and put your hand like this, right? Put your hand right where the heel of your palm is, just switch it. It gets a little bit more confusing because right? So if you just go boom, 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 boom.
So you do these at home all the time? That's why you're-
No, actually, actually, when I was a kid, I did a lot of them. That was like last year. no, actually, these kind of things. My cousin actually showed me these. These are just things that people have done over time. I showed you the thing that I did. This one, right? So you go with your palm, and then your thumb, and then your two fingers, and then these two. You have to alternate between the hands. Right. So that's a dexterity in the hands that you develop. But you know, it just shows you can learn. I learned that when I was probably 10 or 12 years old. You know, 60 years later, I can still do it. I don't do it, practice something like that. But then you know, it's just the what?
What about piano? Have you ever tried?
I know I broke a few pianos. No, I never had an opportunity to do anything like that. Yeah.
What, are you busy or something?
No, I didn't have parents that thought I needed to do something like that. But yeah, we didn't get to do a form, but you got a lot of principle, you know, the theory. So you have any questions? Mark, are you still on that one?
It's driving me crazy. No, hands good.
Block punch, 1, 2. Yeah, everything that we do on two sides that have a relationship that work together is the same concept, the idea. So we do a lot. It's multitasking essentially, right? You know, the two sides work together to get certain things done. So while we're doing, you know, this type of thing, you think is a connection or splitting, that's a separation of the hand. But we do something like that when we're, say, buttering a piece of bread, or cutting bread, or slicing and dicing when you're using a knife, and because your two sides have to work together in order to hold the object, like cutting wood or using a hammer. You hold a nail and you go like that, right? So how do you know to do that? Just, you know, how many people have hit their finger first before they hit the nail? So when we're doing something like this and like this, that's like sawing a piece of wood. Now someone that doesn't know how to saw wood would go like this. Or someone doesn't know how to use a hammer, they don't know how to swing the hammer, or like chopping wood. That takes more coordination, accuracy of movement, center lining, you know, gravity, not holding it too tight. You know, people that have chopped wood, if you hold it too tight, what happens? The shock goes into your hand. You hit it often enough, you break the handle. And why do you break the handle? Because the force is not transferred. It comes back as a, you know, equal opposite response, and you damage it. So, question, Phil? Yeah, that's brush knee preparation. When you go to the left side, so we just finished, say, this brush side, then when we go to the left side, then we preset the round out and press, and then when we step through, we're in the position that we had done when we were here. So in the long form, when do you do this? After the single crescent kick. You would do the setup. So a setup is, if we're standing like this, the simplest way to remember this or figure it out is if your hands are like this, and I turn this way, because that's the direction you're turning in, just like when we do the exercise, right? We're turning in a direction. So whichever side is horizontal and has the elbow in that direction, that's the side you're turning. So if I turn this way, I bring this one to vertical. If I turn this way, I bring this side to vertical. And when we bring it to vertical and they touch, there becomes a press. If I turn like this, it becomes a press. Now when you're holding this, so this is where, so yeah, both arms want to do this, right? So you have to drop this elbow and you turn this. Yeah. So in Kai's case, she wanted to do both of them like this, or both of them like this. So you have to break that thought and then try to drive the movement as if it's like this. So your body will, so right there, yeah, yep, this is good, go. So you have, yep, keep going, and then, but when you go to here, keep this down, right? Now you're there, then go the other way, flip the hand, yeah, and then you let this one down. Yeah, let it down. Yeah. So vertical and horizontal is that relationship, right? If you want, this is double round, this is double vertical, this is horizontal and vertical, this is horizontal and vertical. See, so double round meaning the who. Double down is triangle, right? If we do one each on each side, then you learn that structure. That becomes a structure. Then structure is moving like this. Now that's probably more important with some of the string instruments where your hands have to be in an up position. When you're in a down position, like in piano, they actually say you have to sink your elbow, relax your shoulders, and soften the wrists, and make it like you have an egg in your hand, the hollowing of the palm. And your hands have to be like this. Until you go like this, that changes the intent and the pressure of that. And then if you embody it, then it's not the body, it's not the hands that's doing this. They just have to be manipulated. And it's the body sinking and becoming part of that motion. So I don't play piano, but I know the mechanics. I know the mechanics. You know, I told you that a lot. I did a workshop at the New England Conservatory with these musicians working on body mechanics. And, you know, so because body mechanics is not what a musician focuses on until they discover it. So then the body mechanics becomes part of the shifting of the weight and the transferring, and how do you draw how does your hands move when you're holding this instrument? Where's the elbow position? These are things that, you know, Kim's you know, she teaches there, and she's really involved with the body mechanics of her students since she's discovered it in Tai Chi. So it's just kind of on any high level physical type of thing requires this kind of concept. So, but you can transfer it, so it's learning. Okay, ready? Bow. Oh.
At Harvard Medical.
Okay, yeah.
And she has a whole department. And quite some time ago, she had a hemorrhage
Yeah.